Good Monday morning, and welcome to Ice Age TV, internal combustion engine age YouTube channel that talks about all my cars and trucks and SUVs and motorcycles, the camper, the Kiefer dog, the pool, the attitudes, the Chevy Bisons. Yeah, how about that over there? Another vehicle in the driveway. Not even all of them are here. Oh my gosh. Wow. Hey, good Monday morning there. What a weekend. I hope you all had a blessed weekend. Starting to drizzle here in the Washington, D.C., Virginia, Maryland area that I live in. Humid. Not real hot, just more humidure. Overcast. And I hope everybody had a blessed weekend. Great weekend. And as always, thanks for watching my channel. Appreciate the support. Nice comments. With all of you. It's a lot of fun. And wow. All I can say is, wow, here we have yet another truck. Like, I need another truck in my life, right? Unbelievable that this deal even played out. Oh my gosh. Wow, where do I start? Where do I start the conversation today in the collection of all the cars, trucks, the motorcycles? It's just beyond believable. Even for me. Yeah, have I gone overboard? Yeah. Am I going to pay dearly for it? Probably. Yeah. How do I continue to pay for all this? I have no idea. Does it all start to slowly disappear? Possible. It's not good, everybody. It's just too much stuff. And do I stop? I don't. That's the challenge. So here's a bug or something that just literally flew on my shirt. What are you doing there, little guy? Get off of me. So let's get the puppies. Come here, baby. Up in the office. And you're not invited, Keith, because you're just going to you're going to be the terrorizer. How do we get this door open? Come on, pups. Come here, Ginger. Where'd Ginger go? Ginger's kind of going off on her own right there. So we'll let them do their own thing. Anyways, here we are. Lights, camera, action. Boy, I tell you what, this Dodge Challenger needs to get out. It's been ages since I've driven this thing, but I've had so many other activities going on of doing other things with something new or something different. Going to Florida. I mean, it's not easy driving all these different vehicles because of I just have so many. It's very, very challenging. And I know some will call me out on that, but at the same time, it's just so many different adventures that we take the path to go do something. And just like this Fast Johnny, I was going to take that out for a ride. And I ended up not even riding that. And I cleaned it all up. And yet to no avail, didn't even ride it. I rode the Road Glide ST instead, which I really like that motorcycle. So yeah, the word of the day is start. I thought to myself, in all sincereness, to keep the morning conversations going. And it's interesting how the morning conversations, the attendees, just doesn't seem to grow much. It's interesting when I look at how many people watch my morning conversation. It just is, for a while there, it was seeming like I was getting like a good 300, 400, 500 attendees. But now it really seems to be the 200 range. So I guess my content is just in so many ways boring to so many others, I guess. I mean, because how do you start a YouTube channel? I mean, sincerely, how do you start a YouTube channel, and how do you start creating content that intrigues others to watch you and follow you? And I know I've heard tons and tons of people say you do a car review, and I'm like, wow, nobody else does that in the YouTube world. Not one other girl or guy goes out, buys a car, or drives to a dealership and does a car. Nobody does that. Trust me, there's no YouTube videos out there. So if you want to do that, anybody out there that's looking to start a YouTube channel, if you want to do that, go for it. You'll have a great time creating all that content, because here's a guy that since he started his YouTube channel in 2020, it was basically, I think, January, February 2020, pre-pandemic. I can honestly tell you, I have bought at least 100 vehicles, if not more, in the last 4 years, if not 150 vehicles. And so if you think that through, I should have an incredible whole journal of 150 different purchases of all these different cars and motorcycles and trucks and SUVs. Oh my gosh, who can claim that? I'd like to know if there's anybody out there that watches other YouTube creators Who can tell me of another YouTube creator that has purchased at least 150, if not more, vehicles in the last 4 years on a YouTube channel where they can personally share the details of all the experience of driving and owning the car? I would love to hear who's doing that and how they're so successful. And I just like to hear the stories. It isn't criticism. It isn't anger. It's just me saying to others, when you want to start something and create something, what do you think? And this is what I hear. I've been around just too long, everybody, where in the adventures of my life, I've had so many people approach me. You ought to start this business. You ought to start that business. You ought to, and you know what? People know that are in business, for the most part, most people fail that try to create a business. It's very, very, very challenging. And I'm just sharing with you, being the YouTube creator that has gone out of his way to start content, create content, and it's just, as you hear on my channel, to no avail of really anything significant that comes from me sharing the love and passion, which, you know, when I start my conversation every morning on my YouTube channel, when I say, welcome to Ice Age TV, and I talk about all my cars and trucks and, you know, motorcycles, blah, 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 you hear that every time. And that's what my whole channel, for the main point, is about. And you see me on a regular basis. You see me just about every 2 weeks going and buying yet another vehicle. If you really look at my channel and you average 10 days to 14 days, I'm out buying yet another vehicle. Beyond crazy. Beyond believable, even for me, that I continue to be able to pull it off when I say to myself, I just think it's a matter of time before the plug's pulled, because I'm just going to get caught with my pants down because I just all these heavy payments. But here it is. So yeah, so then you come back to my channel and you see the subscriber base and the viewership, and you just think, whip-de-doo-dah, for what? For what? So how do you start a conversation? How do you start a business? How do you start? And that's the thing. These are things that people are intrigued about, is how can I be like you? Somebody's very, very successful. The biggest thing people want to know is, how did you become you to be able to do what you do? And I've had that question on my channel many, many times, and I always throw in the video from Napoleon Hill, the Dale Carnegie guy that went around the country and wrote a book, Think and Grow Rich. So I always point them to that video just to share with them my true beginnings. And and for the most part, probably most don't get that I'm just a crazy guy who goes out and buys way too much stuff. So here's the 2500 HD, which I did a whole walk around conversation of this truck. And I do just love that truck. I really do. Even though I think the front clip, the front end, kind of has that funky little look to it. Chevy's always had that kind of unique personality on that. But before we get to that, yesterday my kid and I, and Shannon and Chris, we rode the bikes yesterday morning. Rode out to Berryville, got a nice breakfast. Kid rode her bike, and really was a hot day. Rode out to Skyline Harley. One of my YouTubers hit it right on the head. He's like, hey man, all we see video of is you guys riding to like a motorcycle dealership. You know what? In some degrees, that's true, but not totally true. It's certain times when we ride with certain people, that kind of seems to be the way it plays out. If you really watch my videos, especially in Tennessee, and you watch my videos of my daughter and I, we're always out on the road just riding. But you know what? This is no lie, and it's not criticism by any means. But there's a lot of people that get the enjoyment of riding their motorcycle they start, start is where you begin, and starting the ride is all about a destination. And so a lot of people, their focal point is, where are we going to ride to today? Let's go ride to have a nice breakfast, lunch, or dinner, whatever. So that's the whole ride. It's starting out the day to go to a destination to where you're going to eat. And another one is people like to go to the Harley dealer to buy paraphernalia. So a lot of people are into riding their motorcycle just to the motorcycle dealership just to look at more motorcycles and paraphernalia. Some people are really into that. My daughter and I, we really do ride and just ride. And we don't really just ride to go to somewhere to find somewhere to eat. And we don't usually just really ride per se just to go to another dealership. My daughter gets very upset about that because it's like she wants to go ride, which I get all that, which we do. And down in that Tennessee area, there's so much more back road country down there that we like to enjoy. It's just so much less traffic. And we do get a lot more riding time down there, but we haven't been down in Tennessee in quite a while. So that's just too much on the agenda. But we may be down there later in August. So we shall see how that all plays out. So starting conversations, if you keep it on the car, the truck, the motorcycle, what's the number one thing for us, my age group, that was a challenge when you were younger, when you saw the carbureted cars that were in the cooler months, a challenge to start. I'm sure many people my age can tell the stories of witnessing their father, their mother, their neighbor on those colder months. That choke on that carbureted vehicle just wasn't cooperating properly, wasn't opening or closing properly, and the car wouldn't start. Who doesn't know these stories? Who doesn't know the stories of the battery being dead on your car and it doesn't start? Who doesn't know the story on my YouTube channel that I did not know that when the key fob has sat too long for the Fireblade here, and even a lot of the Honda products, when that key fob has sat too long, it automatically powers off, and you have to power back on the key fob for it to recognize a motorcycle. So if you watch my channel, I was telling everybody my motorcycle battery died because the bike wouldn't come to life. And I was stunned that this is such a brand new bike, it wouldn't start. Only to find out, after I did more research and more playing around with the key fobs, and even calling my dealer to let them know I figured it out, it's the key fob has to be powered on because it goes into a deep sleep mode, and then the bike started. So I think there's probably a lot of false calls in today's world of the vehicle won't start. But then what's really classic for where we are today is electric vehicle. When you go to start an electric vehicle, it's just weird because you're so used to going in a car and hearing an engine come to life and rumble. Well, that doesn't happen. In an electric vehicle, it just powers on. And even myself, you wonder yourself, is this thing on? Did I start this? And then the way these motorcycles start up, if you watch my channel from yesterday, when these bikes start up, wow. I mean, the exhaust note on these Harleys, and especially this 121 CVO ST with just a slip-on exhaust, and the head pipe's all original in the Cadillac, as Mr. Sanchez calls me out, the catalytic converter underneath it. It's all still in this bike, but when you hear a bike start up, it is just like a monster. It just sounds so good. That Honda Monkey is so much fun. I blast around that thing, and that dog there runs with me till that dog runs ragged. I mean, I'm not lying. That dog runs and runs. That thing is so much fun. That thing gives you an agility test. If you ride that thing around, that's what I like about, that's the thing about the dirt bikes. And that's why I always stayed on dirt bikes so many years ago. Just keep on riding. You know, that's just so important as you get older in life. And I've talked about it numerous times. Just keep on riding to keep your agility and your skills of riding a two-wheel machine. Let me see if I can get in this truck. I kind of wish earlier I would have had the mindset to open this up instead of have to delay the time here and try to get into my office here as you sit here and try to figure things out as I try to figure things out. And let's see here on my Chevy Piston. Got my Chevy Piston day here for you. Found my old Chevy Piston. And yeah, you probably are saying, what are you talking about, Mr. Ice Age? Yeah, I found my old Chevy Piston. This has been around for years. That's probably 10 years old when I used to have my Chevy trucks and everything. So I put it on this truck here. But let's listen to this truck start. And it's just so quiet. I mean, you know, for the diesel engine, I mean, you know as well as I do, this truck here has more of an exhaust note. Yeah, there's a Corvette. Corvette was pulled out of its spot so I can get my motorcycles in and out. So look at this here. There's this big-ass pipe, but yet not so much of an exhaust note on this truck. I need to take that sleeve out of there. You know what happened? You go to a shopping center, some guy come by, he'll pull that sleeve and pin because that sleeve helps you have different size hitches. But here we are This is such a great truck. I mean, I really do love this truck. And I'm just blown away I was able to get this deal done. Dangerous in how they did get the deal done. But it's just so nice. You climb up in here, you just sit so tall up in this truck, and you get into it. I mean, wow. I mean, just like, and then all the technology comes to life. Just incredible when you start up a vehicle these days of what you get. But you know, what's interesting is how the screen is all dark. And you know what? I haven't driven his truck. I did drive his truck at night. And what is that all about? So here, even for me driving his truck today, I don't really know why this screen has gone totally dark. Isn't that something? See, it's always something. It's incredible. What's the odds? Odds we get in this truck this morning is starting it up, and now none of the infotainment center is has started up. Oh, you know what it probably is? Oh, you gotta put your foot on the brake and touch the button. So see here, I didn't do that. I didn't put my foot on the brake. I just hit the button. So it's even for me. So here to the instrumentation. I mean, it just really is neat. It's a whole different ball game. What would be my real mileage? It'll be interesting to see what the miles per gallon this truck is, you know, long-term driving it. Today I could do a really long drive. Here's the tire pressures. It's supposed to be 55 all the way around. The right rear one needs some attention if you look at that. But once again, look at the rear view mirror that gives you the camera. But for me, I have so many different cars and trucks and motorcycles, and I look at the seating here. I like the seating. So it's just a total change up. What's interesting, they didn't do the typical, you know, upper dash. They have the glove box there, but a lot of the now in the dash is a little glove box area as well. I really like this big ass area here. I like the wireless charging. But once again, it's just, for me, it's a totally different drive. But it takes me back to really where I came from, as I talk so much about my channel. Is so here, let's see if we can turn this thing off. Here. So turn it off. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this because I've already done that in a personal video. But I was just showing you, just to start the vehicle up. And even for me, with all these different cars and trucks and motorcycles, you know, it gets befuddling sometimes because it's just so many different things. And that's the thing. You try to get in tune with what you own. And even for me, when I'm jumping from bike to bike to bike, you forget about, you know, where all the controls are. I mean, it's challenging. And in so many ways, you're so much better off just owning just a few vehicles, not only for the financial reasons, but you're much more in tune with the with what you own, and you become more you just become more in touch, more connected. And that's especially true on motorcycles, is that you definitely want to ride a motorcycle consistently, the same one, because you become just so connected with the motorcycle. You really know its capabilities of what you can and can't do. But I'm just a crazy guy that just wants to have everything. But at the same time, I'm at the age of life, and I just know that this won't last forever. You know, as you progress in life, your capabilities of how, when you age, of what you can and can't do, and what you feel confident to do. And then eventually, when I decide to kind of slow down in my life, this is just too much, you know, weight of debt to carry for me to be really able to not have to go to work every day of my life. Yeah, so and that's the thing about starting. You know, where do you start? How do you start a conversation? How do you start a conversation with somebody that you know has totally opposite views of what you view? And that's extremely challenging. And as you know, more than ever in this social media world we're living in, it just seems like more than ever, that's very challenging. And for the person that's the Ice Age person versus the person that's the EV Age person, how do you start a conversation with them without having opposing views that turns into an argument? I mean, that's challenging, because the person that's really hell-bent on the EV agenda, the EV vehicles, they're going to be just totally, really convinced that that vehicle is going to save mankind and save the world. And how do you start that conversation? How do you present yourself to somebody to try to, but at the same time, their position to me, how do they start a conversation with you to get you to change the view of what you think makes sense and doesn't? And isn't that the biggest challenge more than ever that we're living in today's society? Is how you can start a conversation with somebody and feel like in the end that you both kind of came to closure what seems to make more sense than nonsense. So doesn't it seem like we live in an age of the nonsense is just rampant? And just to see what played out over this weekend, I mean, oh my gosh. Oh, yeah. To even think that that person, is going to be potentially the person. Oh my gosh. I mean, I know. I didn't even say the words. I'll try to keep the politics out of the conversation because I know some people watch my channel, they just kind of get irritated with that stuff. But for me, boy, oh boy, I just think that if this country goes that direction, I'm going to have to say this country's done. The common sense, it's done. I mean, it's done. It's over. Sorry, younger generation, but you're going to be, you won't be the country you knew. I mean, if we get a quarter of a century of this movement, it's going to be, wow, be unbelievable. So, when am I getting the Ford Mustang Dark Horse? I didn't get it Saturday because I never really got the final call, but really what happened is my friend Chris wanted to go ride motorcycles, so we went and rode motorcycles. And what did we do? We went to get something to eat, and then we went, did we get something to eat? I can't remember. Oh, that was in the afternoon. But we went up to Twigs Motorcycles, and we walked around that dealership and saw their collection of things and everything else. Challenge for me is to go to a motorcycle dealership, there really isn't anything there. There's nothing there. I mean, I think anybody who watches my channel can honestly say, if Iceman goes to a Harley dealership, what's he going to buy? What's he going to buy? He's had all of the motorcycles that he wants. He's test driven the motorcycles that he doesn't end up buying. So what's at a Harley dealership? I know the select few out there, the green rush wants me to get a CVO Pan America, and the tobacco fade is nice, but for the most part, there's just not really anything there. For what? What would I buy? What would I get excited about? So the Harley dealership really just is a waste of time besides buying some paraphernalia. Go to the multi-brand product line. I'm not really the Kawasaki guy. I'm not really per se the Suzuki guy. I'm not the Ducati guy. I've had the BMWs. I've got the Triumph. I came close last year to buying a Triumph Tiger again, and everybody knows that video that I eventually walked away from a done deal. So to go to these motorcycle dealerships, in so many ways, for me, there's nothing there. It's boring because the Indian lineup, I've had every Indian you can own except for the original Roadmaster, which, yeah, that's a really good-looking bike. It would be cool to pick up a nice Indian Roadmaster with the original fairing up front that's that Indian look to that motorcycle, not the Harley-Davidson copycat look. So, yeah, would that be pretty cool to get? Yeah. I mean, okay, so what would I give up? Yeah, if I gave up the FTR for that, but then it's, it's a whole different amount of money. It's just, once again, it's what's there to really get me excited. You saw me last weekend trying to finagle a deal on an Indian Scout 101, but that was all more about, you know what? If I can just swap out a payment for a payment because they're within reason of how much each one retailed originally, about the same price, great. But there's no way that's not going to happen because once you buy a new merchandise, the start of the process of you losing your ass is what happens. When you go buy a brand new car, vehicle, motorcycle, whatever it may be, the starting of the process, if you just lost your ass, that's what goes on. You're going to take a 30%, 40% hit right off the bat in the real world of the real world. And what's interesting is the dealerships or the industry. I just read a Wall Street Journal article, and it talks about the Ford and GM and Jeep Ram. And believe it or not, Ford and GM are healthy. They actually have been doing very well. Actually, their stocks are back up, and they're actually doing better than they thought, and their pricing is doing better than they thought. And the concern is that Jeep Ram is going to get a little more aggressive, which may do some harm to them. But here's the thing: the first half of this year's reports are getting ready to be published, I think, today or this week. And once again, the stocks are up. But yet, the gloomer doomers are telling everybody that I talk about every day on my channel that it's all over. that all these car dealerships are going to go bankrupt and the car industry is going to go bankrupt, but yet the big three are posting relatively okay earnings and better than they anticipated, and the consumers are weathering the challenges of vehicles being more expensive and higher interest rates. Even though it's very befuddling, here's something very interesting. So Ford no longer, I just read this last night, Ford no longer has competition on the Mustang pony car wars. So, meaning that it doesn't have the Camaro, doesn't have the Challenger. Now, who do you know in a YouTube community that has a badass Dodge Challenger Red Eye, the baddest ass Challenger you can buy, besides the Demon or the Super Sport, but that's a demon in disguise to a degree. Not totally, but somewhat. And then you got a guy who owns a Camaro Z28, one of only 1,900 built, 2015, 17,000 miles. He's got a Mustang, two Mustangs. He's got the Dark Horse that just had a supercharger put on it, and he's got a GT that he's already modded. Who do you know that has this collection of cars that can honestly tell you the differences of the vehicles when you drive them down the road and the fun, and then the Corvette Z06. I mean, come on. I just love to hear the people reach out. But I'm talking about channels that the guys are getting their 100,000 views for showing their cars off versus the guy that walks around the neighborhood and walks around the car dealership and tells everybody the world's coming to an end and they get 100,000 views. I'm still just taken back. And you know, it's really interesting. I've been noticing lately, some of these YouTubers, the first 2-3 hours of their publication, they're out doing Tucker Carlson. They're out doing Fox News. You got to really have to scratch your head on that. So a guy that walks around the neighborhood and runs his mouth about the dire straits of the economy, he gets 43,000, 50,000 hits in 2-3 hours. Tucker Carlson or some other Fox News personality is at 20 or 30,000 hits. You got to start scratching your head like, wow, this is unbelievable. This YouTuber guy is now outpulling the major networks in their first few hours of publication over the other guys. Man, there's just something sounds really fishy about these so-called the big guy YouTubers, man. I talk about it all the time. Whole point is, Ford is jacking the price on the Mustangs. Yes, the Ford Dark Horse that I think is way too expensive as it is, they just raised for 2025 that price $3,465. So if you want to go out and buy a Dark Horse premium package, you're going to be now up to like $80,000 for a non-supercharged, non-GT500 car. My first GT500 car was $84,000. Supercharged, track-capable, baddest-ass production car I ever bought in my life. And why I gave it away? Yeah, even me. Why'd I do that? But the point is, Ford's position is that they are going to dominate the now two-door performance pony car market because there's no competition. What are you going to do? Oh, I'm going to go to Chevy dealer and buy a Camaro. Okay. I hope they got a good used one there for you. There ain't any new ones. Oh, I'm going to run up to the Dodge dealer and buy myself a brand new Dodge Challenger. Well, you can, but it's probably a leftover, and you probably will get a hell of a deal on it. I don't know if you're going to get the all-out performance package, but you're still going to be way up there in big numbers. But they don't make them anymore, man. Well, no, I'll get the electric one. That's a Charger. It's a two-door Charger that's replaced the Challenger. It isn't but it's the same thing, whatever, but it's an electric vehicle. Oh, okay. So the whole point is, Ford is raising its prices on all the Mustangs. Wow. And what is going on? I talk about this all the time. When did they start jacking the hell out of the prices of these cars? Come on. It was during the pandemic. Shortly thereafter the pandemic, the whole shortage thing came about. Oh, that's what you're talking about. In the car market pre-pandemic, there were 3.4 million cars on the car lots in this country. New cars in the country. That was the statistic. We're now at 2.9 million. But you have all these YouTuber guys walking around and they're telling everybody the world's coming to an end. But yet, prior to the pandemic, there were 600,000 more cars on the, or 500,000 more cars on dealer lots than there are today. And those guys didn't go bankrupt back then, but for some reason today they're going to go bankrupt per the so-called expert YouTuber. It doesn't even own a car dealership. Doesn't even work in the industry. I mean, it's just, oh my God, oh my God. Yeah, common sense? Where is the common sense? Oh my gosh, man. It's gone, everybody. It's gone. It's gone bye-bye. It took a vacation. It took a ride on Elon Musk's SpaceX rocket ship. That's what's happened to the common sense of this country. It's been shipped out. It's bad. And if somebody gets to be in power, I'll tell you straight up, I know everybody knows what I'm saying. I guarantee if you know who I am, you know that person gets in power. Woo! Wow. The butterflies and the potheads will be the biggest thing among us in our modern times, in our lifetime. Wow. Yeah. I would definitely say time to bear arms because, woo, yikes beyond yikes. So the whole point here is on the pricing isn't it really kind of coincidental that how ever since the EV market has really exploded in this country, how it's been forced down the throats of the manufacturers by the green agenda activists, and in some ways has been forced down the throats of the consumers of our country. Isn't it just ironic that all the pricing of all these Ice Age vehicles has gone through the roof? Wonder what's going on, everybody. I've talked about it a gazillion times. We know what's going on. What's going on is the Ice Age is going to supplement the EV age. I think everybody figures that out. Even the point now, scratch your head, the average discount on an EV vehicle today is $15,000. Yes, it is. You know why? The government tax subsidy of $7,500. I enjoyed that on that truck right there. Yeah, I took advantage of that. So the point is, wow, all the Ice Age vehicles are getting more and more expensive, but the EV vehicles are getting less expensive because they're discounting them at significant rates like never seen, and the federal government's participating because they believe the EVs are going to save the world. And would they give a $7,500 discount to an Ice Age vehicle? Hell no. They ain't going to do that. Ain't going to happen. So what's the plan, everybody? The plan is to get everybody to start buying EV vehicles. But people aren't biting into it. But yes, they are now because they're going to make it more attractive to buy an EV vehicle over an ICE vehicle because, oh, guess what? The ICE vehicle is more money now than an EV vehicle. Wow. Wonder what's going on. Wow. So 7% of the sales is the EV market at this time. It's down a little bit from last year. So many thinks that people have turned off the lights and buying EV vehicles. That's not correct. EV vehicles are selling. People are buying them. And once again, I think at the end of the day, where it's all going is, especially if China, especially if Build Your Dream, BYD, was ever to get their foot in this market. If the Chinese manufacturing of these electric vehicles ever was able to get in this country, it'd be over. There's no doubt in my mind that the Ice Age would probably even rapidly deteriorate even faster because you're going to be buying a $20,000 car that'll probably go 200 miles. And I can guarantee there'll be tons of people lined up to buying that $20,000 electric vehicle that goes 200 miles. I mean, that's real stuff. $30,000 vehicle probably go 300 miles. I mean, I'm not all the specifics of all of them, but when does it start? When does it start? When does even the more craziness start? And that's the point of this conversation this morning as I wrap it up. When does it start? When does it even get more crazy? We already are living in a country at this time where I think many agree that craziness among us is just beyond believable of what's going on. And I'm not going to get into all the details as I talk about all the time. The average person watching my channel will know what I'm talking about. But just to think that should what's going on today continue, it continues and things don't change, wow. When does the craziness even start even more? Oh my gosh. Yeah. I think anybody's on my channel, I think when you saw it played out over this weekend, if you weren't sick to your stomach, I don't think that you're probably one of my really diehard subscribers. I'm not calling you out. I'm just telling you, if you didn't have this just sick feeling to your stomach from this past weekend, I think you all get what I'm talking about. And I'm going to leave it at that. Hey, everybody, that's it. I'm going to wrap it up. Do I go get the Dark Horse today? Do I have the Dark Horse Adventure on a rainy day? Do we go pick it up? Do I go drop off the race truck? to get the oil changed, tires rotated, new wiper motor, and wiring harness replaced, and bring home the supercharged Dark Horse. I think that's in the works. So if you watch my channel, stay tuned for more adventures, and that's what it's all about. It's always about adventure. And what adventure do I start next, right? So everybody, as always, stay safe and have a great day, and God bless.